Hey there, all you Matthew studying peeps. Today we're talking about laying up your treasures. Where is your treasure? Because wherever your treasure is, wherever your heart is, there's your treasure. I think it works both ways. What's the most important thing to you in your life? I'd have to say it's my family, my girls, my grandkids. That tugs at my heartstring the most. When I lay down at night, that's who I'm praying for. That's my treasure. Now, we got to lay up treasures in heaven. So how do you, everybody likes to put away money, squirrel away some money, for hard times. How do you, save your treasure and put it in heaven? So let's talk about that, shall we? Of course, verses 19 through 21. What is a treasure? Now, when you think about it, all of heaven and all of earth belongs to God. Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So everything belongs to Him. Does it make any difference what treasure we have? Because everything belongs to Him. You shouldn't lay up things here on earth that are going to rust and be eaten by moths. So rust, I got you a picture of rust here. It is the Greek word which means eating. Eats away at metal. In the biblical days there was no rust-proof paint, and there were no bugs. There was no bug spray for moths. There was no mothballs. Moths can do a number if there's a lot of them, and just one can do a number on it, but in biblical days, there were several. So things, in other words, can be destroyed. But we as humans, we like to acquire stuff, and we want to protect our stuff. We want to not let anything happen to it. We insure it. We insure a house. We insure a car. And, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. Nothing wrong with that. If you're putting God first in your life with your tithes and your time, we should tithe of our time as well. There's nothing wrong with having a nice car. But now, sometimes I think it's not necessary to have a 50-room house or a truck that costs $100,000. And and if it's for a farm work, I'm not saying it applies to everything, but just for the sheer keeping up with the Joneses, that's wrong. Okay, that's a treasure. Probably we don't need to mess with. It's normal, but it's normal. It's normal for us to want to acquire stuff and protect it. It's normal. What is also normal is connected to the kingdom of the world. So normal is connected with the kingdom of the world. Think about that. It's normal. It's normal to judge people. It's normal to be who we are. I mean, we are who we are by our upbringing and different things that have affected us. So let me go over to this. Let me say this. We are to lay up treasures in heaven. Verse 21 of this chapter. Those things which tether, don't you like that word? Or connect, leash our heart to either above or on the earth. Usually one will win. Usually it's a product of influence, our upbringing. Okay, so I was in church all my life, and my dad was always talking about the Bible. And so that's I kind of have that in my heart. Those that don't grow up with the Lord, what do they tether their heart? What do they connect their heart to? You see what I'm saying, I think. Sometimes I just stumble all over myself. So how do you keep your heart captivated by the love of God? You invest in godly forums. And by that, I mean church, Bible reading, Bible study, a prayer life, okay? That's how you connect your heart and lay up treasures. And you take your grandkids to church. I miss Weston. I've taken him to church for so many years, now I can't. He went to San Diego. He's in the Marines. and we miss him. So here I am blubbering. He left this week. But you take your kids and you take your grandkids to church. You teach them right from wrong. You think about people that aren't exposed to church, and it's our duty to help. We had a meeting Wednesday night, a ladies' auxiliary at church, and it talked about things that we need to do as a Dorcas or a Tabitha in the New Testament, or Lydia. Dorcas and Tabitha, I think one of them is a Greek word and one's a Hebrew word. But Lydia and Dorcas, they were women. Dorcas had a needle, and she sewed, and she made clothes by hand for everybody in the town. And when she died, everybody in the town came. So she was a poor woman, but she did for others. Think about that. And when she died, of course, Peter raised her from the dead. But I mean, everybody in that town came because they loved her. So that was like, she had laid up treasures in heaven, the way people thought of her, because she gave of herself. And Lydia was a wealthy woman, but she opened her home and let the church, there was no church at the time when Paul was there, but Lydia opened up her home and a church began. So, and then there was the list of things, we kind of made up a list of things that we can do to help others. And I thought that was just, that was a way to lay up a treasure in heaven that is not of ourselves. So, let's go to the next slide. Oops. Didn't want to, kind of. Come on. So, and the next thing I want to talk about, so we know what is a treasure. Now we're going to talk about what is a vision. You know, you have to have a vision of what is the best for your life. You have to have, and if you've been exposed to a lot of sermons in church, guess who's at my feet? I think she wants to get saved. Layla, do you want to get saved? Let me show her to you. Yep. I think she wants to get saved. She comes here every time I'm doing a lesson. And she wants, what's going on? You want to get saved, honey? I will show you how. Anyway, so what is a vision? So you can have knowledge of the Bible. Read it every day and study it. But knowledge is what you know, and wisdom is how well you use what you know. So your vision needs to be a wise vision. Okay? You need the correct vision for your life. Lacey and Elizabeth, you need to be thinking about only dating Christian men and only setting up a home with a Christian man. As hard as that might sound, because I know I'm so scared it's going to be an old maid. I was an old maid. I was not an old maid. I am now. But, you know, our vision for our life needs to be a wise one. And another thing, what influences you? What are you looking at with your eyes or your heart? Are you looking at things that are vulgar on TV or on your phone? TikTok? You know, TikTok will throw that in there. The world is full of darkness, but Jesus, of course, is full of light. So if you focus your own ambition on things above, which is full of light, your vision, you know, it's whatever you become whatever you focus on. So then your vision then will become a wise one. Now, if you want to get a lot of bric-a-brac and nice things, there's, again, nothing wrong with that. But there comes a point in your life, I think, when you realize you don't need none of this. I love it. I love bric-a-brac. I love white enamel pans with red trim. And red Coca-Cola. You know, I love that. And you go on the shopping network and have a good time. But that's not wise, is it? That's just one example of not being wise. And Paul said he's learned to be content in whatever state that he's in. We need to learn to be content. I know. I've got the cutest dog in the world. So have you ever, and I want you to go get that songbook and listen, and it's in the big red one, the 700-page songbook of the Free Baptist Hymnal. Be thou my vision. Be thou my vision. Da, 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 da. It's a good wedding song, but it's also a song Christian sayings. We want Jesus to be our vision. I'll send you a link to it. Okay, and then who is worthy? There's worth and worthiness. Who's worthy? None of us are worthy. It's only by Jesus' blood that we're worthy. What is behind of having two ambitions of what we can fix our eyes on? Two masters. That sounded a little confusing. You can't have two masters. One, you're going to feed one, starve the other one. You just can't. You think, oh yeah, I can. No, you can't. You might try, but you can't. It's either going to be God or Satan. Wealth, or you want God's wealth or Satan's wealth. It's impossible to serve both. Serve is a Greek word where we get our word slave. We are a slave to one of our ambitions. One of the things, our vision, whatever your vision is, that's what you're going to be. I'm going to send a little snippet. I thought it was kind of funny to Michelle about how that we go to work in a car, we work all day so that we can pay for a car and a home that we never get to be hardly except when we sleep. It's kind of funny, but there's nothing wrong with those things as long as we keep them in perspective and what's the most important thing. So you remember the rich young ruler, Jesus told him to sell everything. And he was immediately sad. Why? Because he knew he wasn't going to sell everything and follow Jesus. Jesus challenged the devotion of his heart, and he was instantly sad as he chose quickly. His worldly things were more important to him than anything else. Be thou my vision. See you guys next week.